be a chosen seed line to come out of Isaac to bring forth the 12 patriarchs, the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Now, the Lord answered Isaac's prayers and made his wife pregnant. Right, read on.
And Rebekah his wife conceived.
Read.
And the children struggled together within her.
Now, she once wasn't able to bear children. Now she's bearing children. And there's children in her and they're struggling. Right? Read on.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Meaning, if it is supposed to be this beautiful, wondrous blessing from God, and the angels came down and prophesied to Isaac that he'll have a chosen seed line through him, and this is supposed to be the epitome of the earth, that a nation of people is going to come out of this woman to heal the earth. Why am I having so much pain trouble? That's what she's saying. Right, read on.
And she went to inquire of the Lord.
So she went to go see a prophet to get some answers as well. And guess what the prophet said to her? Read on.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
What the Lord say?
2 nations are in thy womb.
Now this lady is a woman. She's pregnant with children, and these children are going to be the progenitors of the 2 most important races on the face of the earth. Right? There's other races on the earth. You know, they kind of do their things on the earth. You know, they have significant roles on the earth. But these 2 particular children are the progenitors, the forefathers, the gladiators of the 2 most important races.
I never caught that.
Right? Now, we're going to find out who these people are. Right, read on.
And 2 manner of people.
Now, these 2 children are going to have 2 different manners, 2 different spirits, 2 different ways of dialect. Right? One is going to like to do one thing on the right-hand side. The other is going to like to do things on the left-hand side. Right, read on.
Shall be separated from thy bones.
Because you're going to find out in due season that when they're together, all hell breaks loose. Right? One wants to kill the other. He wants to murder the other. One is envious of the other. One is better than the other because God set it up like that. Right? Read on.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
The one people shall be stronger than the other people. How y'all doing, family?
All right.
Y'all got a second in the Bible? Y'all was the God's chosen people, Pastor.
We are God's chosen.
Yeah, what's our name, brother? What's the chosen people's name, brother? Come on, elder. See that? And that's why we're here today, 2022. Have no idea what's going on. Right, read on.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
Right?
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled.
Now the prophecy is the elder is set up to serve the younger. That's his role on the earth, to be in servitude. He may not be doing it now, but in due season he will. Read on.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled.
When her 9 to 10 months was fulfilled. Read on.
Behold, there were twins in her womb.
Right, these children are twins. Read on.
And the first came out red.
What the Lord say?
And the first came out red.
Read on.
All over, like in hairy garment.
Now, the Lord put this description in here because prior to Genesis chapter 25, everybody had a similar description. Everybody was made out of the dust of the ground. Right? You can read that in Genesis chapter 12 when the Lord cursed Miriam and her hand came out leprous as snow. Everybody was like, what the hell is this? Right? We all know that the dust of the ground, the dirt of the ground, when you dig up the soil, it is brown. Now, this child came out red. And you're going to find out in due season that this child is the seed of who? Cain. Back on the earth as Cain. And the first came out red all over like what?
Like in hairy garment.
Read on.
And they called his name Esau.
What is his name?
And they called his name Esau.
This is Edom. This is the number 1 race that is against God and his people. Esau in the Hebrew means Ishashua. Take a guess at what that means. What do you think Ishashua means in the Hebrew? They called his name, when he came out of the womb and he was red all over like a hairy garment, his father said, Ishashua. What do you think that means? It means he wasted.
What?
He wasted. Because remember, prior to this, everybody came out with a dark hue or darker pigmentation. So his father, Isaac, named him predicated upon what he looked like and what his spirit was built off of. Meaning he wasted. Meaning he had no melanin. And it says he was hairy all over. Who do you think this is?
Esau?
Yeah. Esau. And his sons are the Edomites. Who do you think the Edomites are on the earth right now?
You said it was Romans, Caucasians.
That's right. So-called white people are the biblical descendants of a man named Esau. Right? That's who they are. Now, what did God say in Psalms chapter 83? Now, remember, God also said that the elder shall serve the younger. And who came out first?
Esau.
Esau came out first. Read that again.
Psalm 83 and verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom,
Read the verse above.
verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
The nations, these people came together under one consent, under one understanding. Read on.
They are confederate against thee.
They're confederate against God's chosen people. That's an interesting word, confederate.
What does that mean? What's the definition?
Meaning they're against. Right? Read on.
The tabernacles of Edom.
This is the, now it named them first because this is the number one people that conspire against the Israelites. The tabernacles of Edom. That would be your so-called white people that are against God's chosen people. I mean, what other nation has rape, robbed, and pillaged Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans in a more catastrophic way than so-called white people? We're talking about lynching parties. We're talking about castration. We're talking about throwing millions and millions of bodies in the ocean. We're talking about the black market, right? Where you sell bodily parts, where missing black women and children are. And nobody seems that they can't find them. Well, we can't find them. They went missing. But where did they go? This is what we're talking about. Somebody has to be held accountable for these things. And guess where it's written at? In the Bible. The tabernacles of Edom. Right? That's what God said. So the tabernacles of Edom, or so-called white people, they're against God's chosen people. So what is the judgment that God is going to do to the Edomites for all of the atrocities that you see on the earth? Like right now, you're standing on soil where the Israelites, Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, got sold for slavery. I mean, it's literally still standing tall. This wasn't long ago. So what is God going to do to those people? What is the judgment?
Judgment is the final decision of those who have done good and those who have done evil.
Those who have done good and those who have done evil. Give me Jeremiah 32 and 18. All right, there's a judgment for all nations of people on the earth. Every nation that you see on the earth has a set judgment in the Bible. Like Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. Why did they go into slavery? Why did they get afflicted 400 years? Why did they get brought over from the uttermost parts of West Africa to over to the known New World, the Americas? Why did they get sieged out of Jerusalem in 70 AD and had to flee to the mountains? Why did these things happen? It's because there was a judgment that was set for their forefathers, and it happened to them. So everybody's going to receive a judgment predicated upon what they did on the earth. All right, bring it up.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32 and verse 18. Thou showest loving kindness unto thousands, and recompenses the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them.
Into the what?
Into the bosom of their children after them.
God said he recompensed the iniquity into the bosom of the children after them. Iniquity is sin. Do you think that it was a sin for white people to bring Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans on slave ships, starve them to death, castrate them, lynch them, change their name, put them on slave plantations? That was a sin. So God said that sin is passed to the bosom of their children. So what is the judgment? What's going to happen when the Lord comes back?
He's going to separate the sheep from the goat.
Give me Revelation 13 now. Let's find out.
I got about 1 minute because I forgot. I got enthusiastic to hearing the word, and I got glue on a panel that needs to be put up on a wall. So,
Well,
I'd be interested to hear this, but then I got to.
well, you on the Lord's time. The Lord brought you up here. Bring it out.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Right, because you could be Pontius Pilate through the Spirit. You could be Alexander the Freak through the Spirit. So the Lord has you up there in the last days to hear this. Read that again.
If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity.
If you put a race of people in slavery, chiefly God's chosen people, the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the ones that made a covenant with Moses, he that leadeth God's chosen people into slavery, well, you would say it's a fact that white people did that. They put, all right, he that leadeth into captivity
Shall go into captivity.
No, everybody's going to get a chance to the kingdom of heaven.
Shall go into captivity.
The kingdom of heaven is for everybody.
Shall go into captivity.
God said if you put his chosen people into slavery, you have to go into slavery. Have you seen white people in slavery under the hands of Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans? After they enslaved them in America. You haven't seen that. So that means what?
Time to come.
It's time to come. So are you ready for slavery?
You have to go where the Lord directs you. So if in the slavery, taken captive in a nation, he's still responsible to live by his word.
Yeah, you're responsible to live by his word. Meaning, if you lead God's chosen people into slavery, you have to go into slavery. So if the Lord came back right now with his thousands and thousands of angels, right? Because we know that this is going to happen. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, it happened tonight. Would you be ready for slavery? Would you be the gladiator for your race of people and line them up and say, hey, we have to go to slavery under the hands of Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans? Because they're the Israelites. Would you be on the forefront, the front line to tell your people that? Or would you kind of hide in the back and kind of act like you didn't know?
Maybe we got a good chance of going into slavery under Chinese and power-hungry white people the way it is right now.
Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. It's not prophesied in the Bible that the Chinese are going to overtake America. Give me Lamentation, chapter 4 and verse 21. That's not in the Bible. That's the problem with the world, right? They want to exclude the prophecies out of the scriptures on what's going to take place. It's written plain as day what's going to happen. All right, bring it up.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom.
Oh, who?
O daughter of Edom.
The rejoicing and being glad for the daughters of Edom, those days are coming to an end. The so-called white man has been singing Christmas carols. He set up his NFL, National Football Association, the National Basketball Association. He set up all of his businesses across the entire world. So that's why God said, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Read on.
That dwelleth in the land of Uz.
Read.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
No, it's going to be passed and given to the Chinese man.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
Read on.
Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Make thyself naked, meaning they're going to be exposed for the sins that they have done. They didn't just destroy Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, but you destroyed the Chinese too. Why is the Chinese man over in America with a suit and tie on shaking hands? Where is his ancient garments at? They've been destroyed because of the so-called white man as well. Right, read on.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished.
right?
O daughter of Zion,
O daughter of Zion, read.
he will no more carry thee away into captivity.
He will what?
He will no more carry thee away into captivity.
Read on.
He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins.
God said the last enslavement for Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans is under the hand of the Edomites, not under the hand of the Moabites. So this is the last ruling empire to ever rule the earth before the Lord's kingdom. So there's not going to be a time where your kingdom ends and it's going to be given to the ancient Moabites or the Chinese men. That's not in the Bible. That's literally not in there. This is it. You're living in those days. World War III will happen, and America will lose under the hand of the Chinese man, under the hand of the Russians, under the hand of the Ukrainians, under the hand of those other nations. But guess what? The Lord is going to come and destroy this place with them and then destroy those other nations. So that's why the Lord said this. Go to Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 23.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 49 and verse 23.
Now, you fear God. You believe in God, right?
Yes.
Now, you're just a man, right? And I'm looking at you to be an honest man, but I could be wrong sometimes. The Lord has to kind of come and correct me through the Spirit, right? Now, I want to believe you to be an honest man, but we'll see in due seasons. And we're going to see right here. Now, you fear God. Now, the fear of God is what? The doing of his commandments. You said earlier that, well, if God say you have to do something, I'll do it. Did you say something along those lines?
Well, I said if he bring a group under slaves from another nation, as the children of Israel went into slavery, then that's the thing that's set up.
That's the thing that's set up. Do you believe that Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are going to put white people in slavery? Do you believe that that's possible on the earth? Or is that far-fetched?
I think it's possible.
You think it's possible? Give me Revelation 2 and 25. Let's see what God said, right? We're not talking about an HBO movie or a new Netflix series, you know, or some type of documentary. We're talking about the God of the heavens and earth, what he wrote. Right? Bring that up.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come.
Hold fast till I come. We know that the Lord is coming back soon. You can see. You're listening and hearing about rumors of war. Everybody knows about World War III now. We've been saying it for years, but now everybody's kind of finding out about it because they got a Twitter, an Instagram, so on and so forth. Right? But these are the days that's been written for ancient times. And you can literally now see them. Right? Read on.
And he that overcometh.
He that overcometh what? Tribulation, trial, Jacob's trouble, Armageddon, World War III. He that overcometh. This is talking to the Israelites. Read on.
And keepeth my works unto the end.
These people that were elected for salvation, what is God going to bless them with?
To him will I give power over the nations.
God is going to give power to his people over the nations, meaning white people, Chinese people, Africans, Ethiopians, ancient Cushites, Hamites, all the other nations. That's what God's going to give power to his people over, because all those nations put his people in slavery. Read on.
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron.
Read.
As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers.
That's what God said. They're going to rule their enemies with a rod of iron. That's called you reap what you what? So, because these people were ruled over with a rod of iron. They had to say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir, master. They had to work for their corporations. They had to bow down to the so-called white man. They had to plead and beg and ask for justice and peace. You have God's chosen people, the most dominant people on the earth, with the most inventions, the most smartest people on the earth, the people that created the car, the cell phone, the stoplight, the refrigerator. These people created all of these things. The most athletic people on the earth, the most beautiful people on the earth. Here it is, they're marching up and down the streets asking for justice and peace, and they can't get it. So don't you think that God is going to give them justice and peace when they've been singing about this for over 400 years? Yeah, God is going to give it to them. Give me Psalms 49 and 23. So Isaiah 49 and 23. Now you said you fear God, and you said that you would do what God told you to do. Is that true?
I like to think so. I've been asked to do everything, and there's some hard decisions to make. And sometimes people fall away.
Now, do you believe in the Bible? If the Bible told you what to do, would you do it?
I would read it and I pray that.
You'd read it and pray about it.
Because there could be misapplied. It could be something talking to, like, for example, he said, greater miracles than these shall follow the apostles, disciples.
Well,
So the question becomes, was he saying it you to the person he was talking with, or did he mean any followers of him in the future to include Romans converted to Christianity? So there's, when you get to, it takes some study to understand it, and also takes revelation of the Holy Spirit. So it takes us to the process.
guess what? When the Lord said that to the apostles, he was writing to the apostles and the elect. He wasn't writing that to heathens. He was writing that to the elect that were casted off, and they were living like the ways of the other nations, that they can come back to the Lord.
Right.
So he wasn't writing that to the Moabites. Otherwise, he would have said their name. He wasn't writing it. There's no epistle from Paul to the Edomites. There's no epistle from Paul to the Moabites. You don't find that in the Bible.
I wasn't referring to that. I'm saying that.
Well, I'm just generally saying, when you read statements like that, when he's talking about the Lord and people that's following him, he's talking to his people.
Well, if it said in the Bible, you think your wife's unfaithful, that you go to the temple and write in the word and have her drink some bitter herbs, and if she doesn't get a swollen belly and cripple, then if she does, then she was unfaithful. If she doesn't, she'll go off unharmed. So I had to read to say, is this something that we should be practicing today?
Well, there's no temple standing up to exercise Numbers chapter 5. There's no the Levitical priesthood is destroyed in Haiti right now and across the world, the four corners of the earth. So you're not looking at Aaron and Moses in the temple committing these sacrifices. So listen to this. Give me Isaiah 49 and 23.
The book of Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 23. And king shall be thy nursing father.
This is the prophecy. This is what the Lord said. And king shall be thy nursing father. When it says thy, it's directed to the Israelites. Read on.
And their queens thy nursing mothers.
Like when men, this building that you can look at, you can go touch it. Right? Slavery, where the Israelites had to bow down and be nursing fathers to your fathers. Where their queens had to nurse your wives. Where they had to breastfeed them and teach them about mathematics, things of that nature. God said the roles are going to reverse. What's your name?
Scott?
Scott, this is what God said you have to do, Scott. Read.
They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth.
Scott, you're living in the days where the Lord is about to appear. He said that you have to bow down to the Israelites to show that you're remorseful and sorry for the enslavement that your people did. Are you remorseful and sorry for your people hanging the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Yes.
You're remorseful and sorry. Was it a wicked thing that your people raped, robbed, and murdered the Israelites?
It was evil.
It was evil. Was it really evil or just kind of evil?
It was really evil.
Really evil. So if you feel that true remorse, then you would do what God said. Otherwise, you'll just be talking with your lips, and you really don't give a damn about God.
If he says you shall bow down to no man, then that right there is a statement you shouldn't. You know, be it a pope, be it a king, that's not who we call these children to be.
Give me Daniel chapter 12 and go to verse 11. You give me Daniel 12 and 11. You stay where you are. You don't understand that verse. You don't even know who's speaking or who he's speaking to in that verse. Give me Exodus chapter 7 and verse 11. Got that? 12 and 11. Bring it out while he getting that.
The book of Exodus chapter 7 and verse 11.
11 and 7. You got it? Go ahead.
Book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifices verse 10, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand.
What the Lord say?
And none of
The wicked shall understand.
Right, so you don't understand that verse. Right, bring it out.
The book of Exodus chapter 11 and verse 7.
Bring it up.
For against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know.
Now, God said, against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, talking about the other nations. Right? When you read in the scriptures, and the Lord told the disciples to don't bow down to any man, he's talking to his chosen people. He's not talking to the other nations, how they don't have to be in proper servitude to the Israelites. That's not what it's talking about. Give me Isaiah 16:12. Go back to Isaiah 16:12. Go ahead.
Book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6. I have said, ye are God.
Who is God speaking to? So he said, ye are gods. Was he speaking to all mankind on the earth?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have the context.
Well, the context is this is King David speaking to his people, the Israelites. He said, I have said that ye are gods. The book of Psalms is not for everybody. The book of Matthew isn't for everybody. I have said what?
I have said, ye are gods,
Read on.
and all of you are children of the Most High.
Is everybody a child of God?
Say he's talking to the people he was speaking with.
Well, he called them the children of God. So can anybody be a child of God?
He posed some very interesting questions. You see,
I mean, well, what do you think? Can anybody be a child of God? If they believe or whatever, if they have faith, can anybody be a child of God?
I think so.
You think so? Give me the book of Romans, chapter 9. I got it. Give me Romans chapter 9. Go to verse 7.
The book of Romans chapter 9 and verse 7.
Let's find out if anybody can be a child of God.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
This is Paul, this is Paul speaking. Paul just said out of his own mouth, neither because they're the seed of Abraham are they all children. Abraham got the blessing, right? And he said that in the earth all nations shall be blessed. So he just said, just because you come out of Abraham's seed line doesn't mean that you're chosen or you're a child of God. Right? Who was chosen out of Abraham? We spoke about this. Isaac. What happened to Ishmael?
I don't know. I understand that took off and became another nation.
Well, after he became another nation, he was already another nation. He was casted out. Right, read on.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Read.
That is, they which are the children of the flesh.
He just said, in order for you to be a child of God, you have to come out of the seed of Abraham and Isaac. Who else do you have to come out of, become a chosen seed of the Most High God? Out of Abraham and Isaac. No? It was Jacob. All right? Read that again.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Read on.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be
So
called.
if you don't come out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what did the Lord say?
That is, they which are the children of the flesh.
You will be a child of the flesh. Meaning you don't matter. You wasn't chosen. Read on.
These are not the children of God.
What the Lord say?
These are not the children of God.
So God said that he created people for them to strategically not be the children of God. But what?
But the children of the promise.
The children of the promise. The people that God promised salvation to. The people that God promised everlasting rulership to. What are they counted for?
Are counted for the seed.
Because it's about a seed line through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
And what book is that one for?
You
What
got
was that verse?
Don't worry about it. Give me Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. That's in the Bible. And this is in the New Testament. This is Romans. Yes, Romans the 9th chapter. So there's people on the earth that are not the children of God. And who those people are is everybody that you don't see on this sign. It's everybody that doesn't come out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's everybody that's not a black, Hispanic, or Native American.
That's right.
Bring it up.
Book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 47,
44.
44. And in the days of these kings,
In the days of these kings, right? Talking about the kings on the earth right now, the kings of the east, right? Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, right? The kings over in Babylon the Great, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the elites. Read on.
shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
Shall the God of heaven, in the days of these kings, shall the Most High God of heaven set up a kingdom which what?
Which shall never be destroyed.
Who is that talking about? It's talking about the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man when this world tried to annihilate them off the face of the earth. When they tried to delete them off the earth. When they tried to pillage him, rape, rob, and murder him, freak him out, destroy his mind, make him out to be a Negro, or a nigger, or a thug, or a drug dealer, or a basketball player, a rapper, a pimp, a whore, a harlot. Nobody. God is setting up his kingdom right before your eyes, and you don't even know it. Read on.
In the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
Meaning God is not going to give the authority of the earth to anybody else when these people raise up and the Lord comes back and saves them from the hand of their enemies. World War III, Armageddon, Jacob's trouble. So, this is why the Lord said this. We're going to read this one more time. You said you was an honest man. I don't believe you.
Okay.
I don't believe you. You said you will follow what God said. And then you change it up and say, well, I have to read it for myself.
Man's a manipulative creature in general on this planet.
Excuse me?
Mankind is manipulative if you look out in society. So it takes, I think, thought and prayer and wisdom and discernment and education before you own something. Else you can do immediate action, pretend like you're playing the game, but it's not inside your heart and your mind and your soul.
Give me Jeremiah 30 and 16. Let's see if we need to pray about this verse or if it's plain and clear. Right? Didn't the Lord say he make things plain upon tables in Habakkuk, the first chapter, second chapter? He said he'll write it plain upon tables. Meaning that this is not a dark saying. This is not a mystery or a parable. Right? Read that.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee.
Jeremiah. What was his nationality?
Yes, Israel.
Who?
Child of Israel.
Yeah, he was an Israelite. Alright? If he walked the earth today, what would they call him? If he had to fill out a job application.
Jeremiah.
No, they wouldn't call him Jeremiah. Give me Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 21. Let's find out what they would call him. Oh, what you got? Give me Jeremiah 8.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 8, verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people and my hurt.
Read on. This is Jeremiah the prophet prophesying to his people, the Jews. Read on.
I am black.
What did the Lord say?
I am black.
What did Jeremiah say?
I am black.
Jeremiah said out of his mouth that he was a black man. Do you agree with that, or do we have to pray about that verse?
It says it right there. Something I have never caught before.
Yeah, it says it right there. It was in there the whole time. Yeah, we didn't have to put our hands together, bow down, say, Lord, I need you to make me understand this verse. We didn't have to do that. Right, we read it. It was plain. All right, go back to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee.
The thee is the people that he's speaking to, the people that are black, the so-called African-American black men, Hispanic and Latino. All they that have devoured thee, like the Spaniards when they came over to the conquistadors over to South America, and they destroyed off the so-called Latino, the Native Americans, the Seminole Indians of Reuben and Gad. What happened to the Seminole Indians? What happened to the people that was on this land? What happened to them? They gave them smallpox and influenza and destroyed them. They killed millions and millions and millions of so-called Native Americans. You think God forgot about that?
Nope.
That's why the Lord said this. Read that again.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured.
Shall what?
Shall be devoured.
What does that mean?
As they sow, so shall they reap.
So should I read. Did you have to pray about that verse? You got it. It was plain. All right, read on.
And all thine adversaries.
We read who the adversaries were in Psalm chapter 83. It lists off the nations. Right? We only read of Edom, but if you read on, it's going to tell you the other people as well. And all thy adversaries.
Every one of them.
No, just some of them.
Every one of them
Read on.
Shall go into captivity.
What does that mean?
Become slaves.
Become slaves. Did you have to pray for that verse to understand it? That was crystal clear. Go back to Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 23. Let's see if this is crystal clear.
Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 23. And kings shall be thy nursing father.
You just said you reap what you sow. That's going to happen to them. Their king shall be thy nursing. Edomite women was evil on the slave plantation. Right? The man might have said, well, let's give him 1,000 lives. She said, no, give him 2,000. That's what happened.
Got a lot of them killed.
Yeah, and got a lot of them killed.
Unfortunately, labor.
That's right. We see it in movies all the time. Right? And we know it to be true by history. And the way that people's spirits are set up on the earth. Right? Read on.
They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth.
Are you going to do what God said? Or are you going to walk away and say you have to pray about it?
I'm going to walk away.
You're going to walk away and be an evil, nasty white man. Is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to serve the Lord my God with all my heart.
Give me Jeremiah chapter 17.
After this, I'm going to go.
And let's go to verse 10. Let's go to verse 9.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all
You
things.
said you're going to serve the Lord with your heart. What did God say about his heart?
The heart is deceitful above all things
Read on.
and desperately wicked.
Scott, your heart is desperately wicked. We just read plainly and clear what God said you have to do to show your remorse for everything that you are held accountable for in America. Don't you know in your Constitution right now, it says that the descendants of Israel are 3/5 of a man? That's never been changed out of your Constitution. It's in writing. So what did God say about Scott's heart? Read it again.
The heart is deceitful above all things
Read on.
and desperately wicked.
Read on.
Who can know it?
Scott, who can know your heart?
God.
Guess what? We know it too. And God just said it's wicked. Bring it up.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress,
Read on.
and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles,
The who?
The Gentiles.
You would be a Gentile. In the Bible, when you read the word Gentile, sometimes it's talking about the nations, and sometimes it's talking about our people that act like you, that don't want to serve God. When the Lord said, plain upon tables on what you have to do. The Gentiles, the other nations, read on,
shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth,
read on,
and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
if the Lord reserves you for World War III and you're still here, you're going to be coming up to the Israelites and wish you obeyed God when you had the opportunity. Because instead of getting 99 lashes, in that day it's no telling how many you're going to get. Or it's no telling that God going to put you to death. The Gentiles shall come bending to thee, saying what?
Surely our fathers have inherited lies.
You've been lied to in this society. Why would this society tell you the truth? Do you know David Rothschild, Rockefeller? Can you call them right now? You can't call them. So you have different classes of Edomites on the earth. Why would they tell the lower level Edomites the truth? They're going to lie to you just because they want to save face from the 12 tribes, the 144,000 waking up. So you've been lied to. They're not going to tell you the truth. Your CNN News, your network, your local I-11 witness news station, all of this was set up to deceive the entire world. But guess what? We found the truth in the last days.
That's right.
And the truth is, you guys have to go into slavery. It's either you get down with the Most High's program, or you get put to death in World War III that's coming to America. America's going to be annihilated off the face of the earth. This is going to be just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Go to Sodom and see if you can plant gardens in Sodom. You can't do it. You can still go to Sodom and see the different sulfur on the earth where it's still burning with fire when the Lord destroyed it. And guess what? That's going to happen in America. This is the only city on the earth where the Lord is going to utterly destroy. Babylon the Great. And nobody's going to be able to inhabit this land. Why is he going to do it? Because you and your people have chosen to do wickedly on the earth. And when you found out the truth, you rejected it. That's why the Lord said, go to Hebrews. Surely the Gentiles shall come begging to thee, said we have inherited lies. Read on.
Vanity.
Vanity. Right? Do you have a business? No. You don't have a business. So you work for a corporation. Contract. Are they so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American men that work alongside of you? There are. Guess what? They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be working above you and over you. Nobody's supposed to tell them how much money they can make. What do they qualify for? These are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12 patriarchs. These are the sons of the living God. These are the gods on the earth. Why has nobody thought, well, why is the so-called black man better than everybody on the earth? Why is he running faster? Why is he smarter? Why did we have to put crack in his neighborhood to slow him down? And he still kind of made it to the NBA. Why is these things? It's because these are the chosen people. These are the people that the Most High God set his face with face to face. And he did that with no other race of people. Read on.
Vanity.
Vanity. You've inherited lies, vanity. What else?
And things wherein there is no profit.
Yeah, like you have some of your colleagues, some of your people that are praying and hoping in their savings that's going to save them in World War III. Like buying different aluminum and things of that nature for bunkers, right? investing into their stocks. You understand? Investing into Bitcoin and crypto. That's not going to help you in World War III Armageddon. It's not. So you guys have inherited lies, vanity, and things where there was no hope. And there's no salvation for white people. You have to go into slavery. You have to be a worker. Are you a good worker in your contract? You a good worker? You ever chopped down trees before?
Probably at some point.
At some point. Can you build houses?
Good.
You can build houses. Well, guess what? You're going to have to do that in the kingdom. You're going to have to build up the treasure cities and the waste cities. You're going to have to get ready for that. Isaiah chapter 16, verse 12.
That's verse I'm going to go.
Well, like I said, you on the Lord's time. You're not on our time. You're not on your time. Let me Isaiah chapter 16, verse 12. Yeah, bring it up. Got it?
The book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
A fornicator and a profane person is someone that'll sit up here and move out of their mouth and say that they fear God or they believe in God. But when you actually go to God's word, they do contrary to what God said. That's a fornicator and a profane person. That's a hypocrite. That's just like on the back of your dollar bill that says, "In God we trust." But they do everything contrary to God. Like smoke cigarettes.
I like my cigarettes.
Right? You know? And like
Put it on the
promoting
shirt.
homosexuality. And like promoting witchcraft on the earth. And doing all manner of profane, evil abominations. What God are you talking about that you trust in? You have to be talking about yourself, which is an idol. You're not talking about the God that created the heavens and the earth. So God said, "Lest there be any profane person or fornicator as who?
As Esau.
Esau. That's you. Read on.
Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Read on.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing,
Read.
he was rejected.
He was what?
He was rejected.
So God said Esau was rejected. That's what the Lord said. Read on.
For he found no place of repentance.
So there's no repentance for you because God already knew that you wouldn't come up and bow down to the sons of the living God. I mean, what type of person do you have to be to have read these scriptures over 1,000 years, know who the Israelites are, know the prophecies, know the time when they're going to wake up to their nationality, and then you not serve them properly like how the Lord commanded you to do over 4,000 years ago? What type of person would you have to be to disobey God willfully? He's confounded.
Hypocrite? No, he just said the word. Fornicator.
That's right. So this is why God said this about your people. Give me Obadiah.
Well, I said I got one more scripture.
Well, we got one more for you. All right, we got
wait,
one more
want
for you.
one more.
Obadiah chapter 1. All right, give me the book of Obadiah chapter 1. And let's start at verse 1.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God,
Right.
concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen.
Read on.
Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Read.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Do you know the growth in the population for the so-called white man? Are you guys populating at an enormous rate?
Not a decline.
A decline. What did God just say?
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
God has made you small. Right? You're not able to bring forth child and seed. That's why you go on a local commercial and you see them promoting what? Interracial marriages. You see them promoting the white man with the black woman. Because he know that her genes and her bodily makeup is superior and stronger, and that's going to somehow help his seed. But guess what? That's not so. God has made you small among the heathen. Read on.
Thou art greatly despised.
Yeah, everybody on the earth is kind of like the so-called white man. He's done all these things to us, man. Right? Nobody wants to talk to you. They kind of put their head down when they walk past you. You get in the elevator, it gets weird. Oh, it's a so-called white man.
People get quiet.
Yeah, they get quiet.
All conversation stop.
Yeah, because you might rape him, rob him, murder him. You might want to overtake him. You might want to shoot him in the back. You might tell him to sing a song. Read on.
The pride of thine heart
The pride of the so-called white man's heart
hath deceived thee.
deceived thee. Read on.
Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Yeah, because you come from the cliffs of the rocks. Mount Seir. What does Caucasian mean?
Caucasus Mountain.
Caucasus Mountains. See that? In between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Read on.
Whose habitation is high.
Whose habitation is high.
That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Who's going to stop Fort Bragg in World War III? We have the #2 military base in the world. Nobody's going to stop us.
I said, brother.
Right? Read on.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
Thou exalt thyself how?
As the eagle.
What is the nation's symbol?
Eagle.
Eagle. Why? Because God said you exalt yourself like the eagle. Read on.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
Read.
Thence will I bring thee down.
God is going to bring the so-called white man down. Read on.
Saith the Lord.
Saith who?
Saith the Lord.
Read.
If these came to see thee.
Jump to verse 17.
Verse 17.
Right, check this out.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance.
Read.
And there shall be holiness. And the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
Read. These people are going to possess white people. That's in the Bible.
Hold on.
Read on.
And the house of Jacob shall be a fire.
The house of Jacob shall be a fire.
And the house of Joseph a flame.
Right? This is after World War III Armageddon. The Most High God is going to give spiritual powers to blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans.
You're the last one.
Read on.
And the house of Esau for stubble.
Esau is going to be for stubble. Right? Read on.
And they that shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
What the Lord say?
And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
So after 1,000 years of captivity in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to go extinct off the face of the earth. And that judgment is set in stone because you guys, at not one point in your rulership in America, decided to serve God and give the Israelites their kingdom back.
Art. Is this a Christian?
Read on.
For the Lord hath spoken it.
No, for we just made it up out here.
For the Lord hath spoken it.
For the Lord hath spoken. So get ready for slavery.
Are y'all
Because
representing
you don't
the
want to
same
serve
religion?
God.
Why not?
For the Lord hath spoken.
What religion do they represent?
What
Ask
say
him.
it?
I have a question. I'm just curious. What religion do y'all represent?
What religion do we represent?
Yes.
Give me the book of John, chapter 8, verse 32.
I'm not well versed in the aesthetics of religion. Just curious on what you all are preaching.
I'm about to answer right now.
This is the book of St. John, chapter 8 and verse 32. And ye shall know the truth.
What the Lord say?
And ye shall know the truth.
And the truth shall make you free.
Yeah, this is not Catholicism. This is not Christianity. This isn't the Nation of Islam. This isn't Buddhism. This isn't anything that you've ever seen before.
And what is it?
This is the truth of the Bible.
And I understand what you're preaching, but
Let me finish answering. God said you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. The truth is that these are God's chosen people, black, Hispanic, and Native Americans.
okay.
All Right? These are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Once lost, now found in the last days. So we represent the Most High God and His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who's a black man.
Okay.
Question. Also, is it wrong for me to listen to you guys?
Is it wrong for us to listen?
For me to listen.
Well, it's not wrong for anyone to listen. Give me the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, chapter 5, verse 1. Give me Jeremiah, chapter 5, verse. Give me Jeremiah. Give me the
How
book
long
of
have you been preaching for?
Revelation, chapter 10, and go to verse 11.
Are you just a recorder at this point?
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 5, and verse 1. Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem.
Like, give me Jeremiah 1 and 5.
Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Read on.
And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations.
So who?
Unto the nation.
Yeah. So we are here to prophesy the downfall of America. Don't you know that America is falling?
I do agree with that, but I
Are you guys in the military?
wish not to be on camera at this point.
Well, guess what?
I'm not telling you not to record. I'm just saying.
Guess what? America's falling.
Okay.
America's gonna lose World War III.
I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just curious on what
Well,
they
we're
are.
telling you.
Okay.
what's
I
about
would
to
like to
happen.
learn this.
Yeah, I'm not here to like go against you all or anything. I just want to know what.
Well, we're telling you
Okay.
that America is gonna lose World War III.
And that's begun already at this point.
Well, give me the book of Revelation, chapter 11.
That's
And
not
go to
the
verse
answer to
11.
my question.
Right, and bring it up.
Not the answer to my question. But okay. I'm sorry, but I have not heard anything that's
What
going to
do you
help
all
me yet.
Well, listen to this.
Book of
No,
Revelation,
I'm talking about this
chapter
guy.
10, verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again.
What the Lord say?
Thou
must
shalt prophesy again.
Read on.
before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
And king. Give me Jeremiah. Right? Go to chapter 28 and verse 4.
Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 4.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against many countries.
What did the Lord say?
Prophesied
both against
many
many countries
countries.
and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence.
Is America a righteous place?
No, it is not at this point.
Yeah, so God said that we have to prophesy against America and against all of the other wicked nations, because America inflicted atrocity on God's chosen people. This soil that you're standing on is the captivity from where God's chosen people were brought over to and had to serve captivity, a rigorous, hard bondage, slavery.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's understandable, and it, like I said, it's just understandable. I agree with what you're saying, but just curious, like, you know.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. Give me Revelation chapter 11. And verse
I if I may, just before,
12.
who do you all preach with, or who do you all like coincide with at that point, if anything?
Who do we coincide with?
Yes, like
Is there a certain church? Or
yeah, or is there a certain group that you affiliate with or something?
Give me the book of Revelation. Go to chapter 6. Start at verse 1.
Revelation chapter 6 and verse 1.
Chapter
I
7
think
and
that's
verse
an
1.
answer.
Chapter 7 and verse 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth,
Right?
holding the 4 winds of the earth,
Read.
that the wind should not blow on the earth,
Right, this is talking about angels holding back the destruction. World War III, Armageddon.
Okay.
You know?
nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Because if it was up to us, we would have prayed that the Lord already destroyed this place. But God has a set time that these things are going to happen. Right? Listen to this. Read on.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east,
And these angels are black. Right? Read on.
having the seal of the living God.
Right?
And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the sea, like to hurt the earth and the sea,
Right?
saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
So, we preach to the people that the Lord wants us to seal. These 12 tribes have many, many people in these different tribes that has to be sealed with the holy kiss of promise. Once the correct amount of number believes in the Lord and believes in his only begotten Son, that's when you'll see the sky crack with what the world calls UFOs, which are angels, and with who the world calls Jesus Christ. So we have to seal the elect of these people, and then there's going to be a new rulership on the earth. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you see yourself on this sign?
I don't.
You don't see
I
yourself.
do not. I looked at it before.
Do you see yourself?
My representation is based off of is located on there, but nor I do believe that I am on there as well.
You say you don't believe that you're on there?
Yes, my representation of as a person is on there. It's on the number 12, but nor do I believe I'm on there as well.
So, what would you call your nationality?
My nationality is Hispanic Latino, as based off of it. So that is what is representative of what my facial features are.
Do you believe in God?
Do I believe in God?
Yeah.
I believe that there's a representative of a higher power that represents most people or all people at that point. But do I believe that my facial features or my color represents a specific aspect of it? No.
Give me the book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 16. Now, nobody up here is talking about phenotypes, skin tone, skin complexion.
Well, it says...
Well, let me explain.
Oh, no.
Let me explain.
Go ahead and speak. I want to listen to what you're saying.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 16.
Give me Numbers chapter 1 verse 8.
The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God.
Right, the Spirit is the Spirit of truth, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. There's only one nation of people on the earth that are the children of God.
And you're representative based off of that, whatever it says on that chart.
No, we represent it based off what's written in the
Okay.
scriptures.
All right. Okay. And what does that chart represent then?
Give me the book of Revelation. Give me the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Give me Revelation chapter 1.
Before he speaks, can I say that I respect the fact that you always have something to reference when it comes to a question. I think that's
All praise to the
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben.
Who?
Reuben.
Read on.
Simeon.
Who?
Simeon,
Read.
Levi.
Who?
Levi,
Read on.
And Judah.
Read.
Issachar.
Who?
Issachar,
Who?
Issachar,
Who else came?
Issachar,
Read on.
Zebulun.
Read.
And Benjamin.
Who?
And
Benjamin,
Read on.
Dan.
Who?
Dan,
Read on.
And Naphtali.
Who?
Naphtali,
Read.
Gad.
Who else?
Gad,
Read.
And Asher.
And who?
And
Asher,
That's it on that?
Come.
Bring it out. What verse? That's it on that. So, these are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Right? It's
And that's
one
what you
more.
represent based off
Read
of.
that last one.
Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
That's right, because Dan is scattered amongst the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, right? This sign is predicated upon who's chosen and who's not. There's 12 tribes out of this one nation of people that God is dealing with.
Okay.
And you're looking at these right here.
Now,
Now hold that thought.
Okay.
Bring it up.
Book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels,
Which are what?
and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
How many gates are there to the kingdom of heaven?
I assume one at this point.
You assume one, right? That's what you.
That's what the Catholicism that
That's
I've
what
been imprinted
Catholicism said,
has
but-
been imprinted on myself.
That's right, but guess what? You was lied to.
I was lied to.
Yeah.
It may be a
Now,
that's
sir, hold your thought. Read that again.
Book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 12. And had a wall great and high,
Right?
and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
So let me tell you something. These people that you see on this sign
Yes, sir.
are going to be in rulership over the people that put them in slavery.
And you know what? Understanding the logic based off of what we've seen in history, I just don't want to be based off of photo description. So I will say, understanding based off of the logic that I've been represented, that certain groups have been placed under rule based off of Catholicism, grouping since ancient times, we can grow from Africa, going to Europe, going to different aspects of time. They have all represented a certain Catholicism aspect, and they've grown, whether we talk about Germany, whether we talk about Europe, whether we talk about certain Irish cultures. My only aspect that I represent based off of it is that you yourselves represent a certain culture. Myself that I'm speaking of represents a certain culture.
What's your culture that you represent?
Well, I'm not going to disagree. At this point, I would represent I'm American.
Well, guess what?
My American.
Guess what?
Go ahead and speak.
If you are a descendant of a Hispanic man,
Yes, sir.
a so-called Hispanic man,
Yes, sir.
then you've been bamboozled by the Americans.
I don't disagree.
Why wouldn't you want to cling on to who you actually are, rather
So-
than what you've been told? Just like how you was told that there was one gate, then you just find out that there's actually 12.
I'm hearing this, and representative of King James. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, King James could be your uncle.
Don't
He could be
disagree.
your cousin.
I don't disagree. So King James, is this the book that you're reading from?
Yeah, King James was a so-called black man.
Okay. I'm not gonna argue the aspect. My representation that I'm aware of, that I'm only aware of, that I'm not gonna go further into the family tree as that aspect. The representation can go farther. The representation can go farther in towards Aztec representation.
Yeah, it does.
I have facial features. I have been represented. I have been distinguished as Native American, or I've been distinguished as a person who has Native American representations. But my soul family comes from Hispanic or Latino. Let me rephrase that as Latino culture. So I will have to rephrase that as that my heritage comes from an Aztec background.
Now, let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
The Aztecs,
Yes, sir.
as well as the Hispanics and the Latino,
Yes, sir.
what language did they speak prior to the conquistadors? Those representations that you speaking of came over and pillaged them. What language did they speak?
They spoke their own language. They spoke their own truths. They had the
What was-
representation of gods. They had the representation of their own history based off their perspective in life.
Now, give me the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13. We're just going to jump to the gun.
No, I mean,
everything that you're saying has some truth to it.
I don't disagree.
But you have to be brought to the full knowledge of the Most High.
And that's okay. And that's why I stopped to hear what you are saying.
So check this out, because you're going to find out in due season that you're not a Hispanic, that you're not a Latino,
Okay.
that you're not an Aztec, that you're far greater than that.
Okay.
Your history goes
further. The lineage leads further on
That's
than
right.
what I was told based
That's
off of my
right.
history.
That's
and
right.
I totally agree with what you're saying at that point. But the only question that I've specifically been asking and wanting to know is, if I wanted to gather more information that you all have been describing, I've been told by this certain gentleman, King James.
Yeah, the
King James.
Bible.
And where do you all get this information from?
You get it out of the Bible.
And what? And correct me if I'm wrong, but
This is a history book.
no. Well, history can be rewritten in different dimensions, in the sense that depending on the history that you want to write, just like historical aspects for Americanism, we have been lied to, and I'm not going to disagree that we've been lied to. History has been rewritten in our history books to say that Americanism, or the European countries that came and conquered the area of America, we've been lying to, or we've been. So my only question is, if you're getting this based off of King James itself, the book, what facet or what corresponds to the religion that you yourselves push towards?
All right, listen. Give me the book. Give me Exodus. Go to chapter 20 and verse 1.
And honestly, what he said earlier.
Now hold on.
I'm just saying.
Answer your question before
No. I'm
you
just
bring
gonna.
another point.
I'm just gonna say, I love that you all have like certain gospels or certain aspects that you all correspond to, because that is great information that I've never been told.
That's right. All praise to the Most High. Now listen to this. Bring it up.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 3. I have declared the former things from the beginning.
What the Lord say?
I have declared the former things from the beginning.
Read on.
And they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them.
And I did what?
And I showed them.
Read on.
I did them suddenly, and they came to pass.
And they did what?
And
They came to pass.
And they came to pass. Read on.
Because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is an iron sinew.
Right. So the Lord, this book right here is about prophecy, meaning the foretelling of future things. Like if I was to tell you, if you go around this corner and if you leave in 5 minutes, you're going to see a briefcase with $5 trillion.
Yes, sir.
That's called prophecy.
Yes, sir.
That means it came to pass.
Yes, sir.
When you read this Bible, this is about history that was foretold previously, and then it came to pass later on in history. Now listen to this. Give me second edit. Give me Sirach 17. Sirach 17.
So,
Hold on.
No,
I'm still
okay,
answering your first
okay.
question. Bring it up.
Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter
13
and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
Like, you got the Aztecs, right? Those are known to be some of the first people over where at?
well, they were based off of the culture, or based off of the continent of South America.
And was anybody over here before
No,
them?
previous to them, my understanding is no.
Okay, so check this out. Listen to this. Read that again.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
During the Persian captivity, you have people that took away some of God's chosen people.
Yes, sir.
These are the Hebrew Israelites, right? That was once lost and that are being found in the last days.
And when
Now hold on. You had 10 tribes that was carried away captive,
yes, sir.
right? Read on.
Whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria
Read.
led away captive, and he carried them over the waters.
Right, the Assyrian captivity, right? I think I said Persian, so like,
No, I
read
understand.
on,
And so came they into another land.
right?
But they took this counsel among themselves.
So these tribes took counsel among themselves after they was taken into captivity out of their land, right? Israel, Jerusalem, right? Read on.
That they would leave the multitude of the heathen
They said we have to leave these heathen
Yes, sir.
Read on.
and go forth into a further country,
They took this counsel among themselves and said, we have to go further. We have to go further to a further country. Read on.
where never mankind dwelt.
Where what?
Where never mankind dwelt.
Who are these people that led themselves away where never mankind dwelt? You're going to find out that this is talking about your Aztec Indians.
100%.
Right, from Reuben and Gad to Issachar.
I see that you
Right.
have Argentinians, Chileans, Brazilians, Colombians, Uruguayans, North American, Indians. I 100% agree with what you're saying there. That
Now
is
listen.
100% true.
Well, this is the Bible. This is not me. This is
No,
this
this is
was
what the
written.
book speaks at that point.
Now, guess what? When you ask about where do we get these things from, we told you that this is about prophecy.
And
Right?
I'm
This is history. Now, listen. Hold up what you got. Bring it up. 17 and verse 11.
The book of Sirach, chapter 17, verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge.
He gave them what?
He
Gave them knowledge.
God gave our people knowledge. The Aztecs and the so-called Mexicans, they had knowledge. They knew how to do what? Count the constellations, right? They knew how to
Represent.
predict time.
Yes.
Who predicted 2012?
Well, I'm not going to say that it was true or false, but
Well-
I will say that the persons that you believe that predicted a certain aspect in time were the Mayans.
Now, guess what? They were damn near correct when the Lord coming back.
I will say that they represented a aspect in history, and they said a certain aspect in time.
Well, guess what? They almost predicted the second coming of the true and living God,
And
Yahweh
if-
Shai. Now, the Lord is on his way back, and they predicted 2012. Right? So they say.
And that was,
Now, hold
I mean,
on.
no, I'm
Hold-
just going to say,
Well, hold on. Let me finish this.
I was,
Read that again.
okay.
Book of Sirach, chapter 17, verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge.
Knowledge, right? Wisdom, understanding. You know?
And the law of life for inheritance.
For a what?
For inheritance.
This Bible is about laws, statutes, commandments. This is a heritage. When you say your heritage of an Aztec and a so-called Mexican, so on and so forth, that's not your real heritage. You have a heritage that supersedes this.
I agree
and
with that,
once
sir.
you drop your heritage as a Mexican or an Aztec or a Latino or a black man or a Negro or a rapper and a thug, MS-13 and what's the other one? Damn, Bloods and Crips, GDs and Vice Lords. Once you drop that heritage and come back to your real heritage, this is where you're going to be set up in rulership on the earth.
Now,
Hold on, let me finish this verse. Read
go
on.
ahead, sir.
Verse 13, Shalaki, verse 12. He made an everlasting covenant with them.
God made an everlasting covenant with
Yeah.
them. There's a covenant with the Aztec Indians that God made. Right? Read on.
And showed them his judgment.
And did what?
And showed
I
them
swear, I
his
listened to what you
judgment.
said.
Which is why the Aztecs and the Hispanics and the black man was overtaken. Because we didn't keep the judgments.
No, and I don't disagree with what you're
So
saying.
listen, let me finish this.
Go ahead.
Go back to second Lineage.
I only have one last question based off of it, and I
Go ahead.
appreciate what you all are doing. You all, this is your all. I don't want to call it religion, but I want to call it faith.
Well, we're just out here to tell you what's about to happen on the earth.
And that's my curiosity more, is what is y'all's faith?
Give me Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Bring it up.
Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those of the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land
Right?
in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Read.
But they took this counsel among themselves,
The Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, the so-called Mexicans took this counsel among themselves, God's chosen people, read on,
that they would leave the multitude of the heathen
because they're the Israelites. Why do they have to be enslaved to the so-called white man? Read on.
and go forth into a further country
Read.
where never mankind dwelt.
That's why when they came over here, it was rich in bison, rich in plants. Right? You didn't smell that stinking, nasty smell. You go to the river and drink water out of the river. Right? Read on.
That they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Read.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage.
Right, River Euphrates, right? It led them all the way up to the Pacific Ocean that led them all the way to South and North America. Read on.
Passages of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them.
Right?
And held still the flood.
Right, the Lord held still the flood and the storm so that they can get over here safely. Read on.
Till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go.
Right, it's a great way to get from the old world to the new world.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that journey?
Namely, of a year and a half.
Right, if you got to a boat, right, it's going to take you about a year and a half. Not these new electric boats.
No,
It's going to take you.
The aspect of using person to move one person from another. So using humanity to represent the boat life or the sanctuary of life to represent the movement of a passage from one person to another actual continent of Earth.
Yeah, it took Issachar, Naphtali, Asher, Gad, the Reubenites, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Hispanics. It took them a year and a half to get over here.
I just have one question.
One more.
Go ahead, sir.
You asked me what is our faith, right?
Yes.
So give me the Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12.
This is a good stuff, by the way, man. I'm
Book of 1
understanding a lot.
Corinthians, chapter 11. Be ye followers of me,
What the Lord say?
be
Ye followers of me.
Read on.
even as I also am of Christ.
Right, so our faith is in our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah, who's a black man that's coming to destroy America and save his fellow kinsmen, black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. That's our faith, right? Bring it up.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12.
Bring it out.
Here is the patience of the saints.
Give me Revelation 13 and 9.
Here are they that keep the commandments of God
Read on.
and the faith of Yahweh Shah.
Right, so we keep the commandments of the Most High God and the faith. How y'all doing, sisters? Y'all Israelites, God's chosen people. Right, you living in the last days. You gotta come back to the Most High.
That's right.
So our faith is in Yahweh Shah, that He's gonna destroy
headed
the
that way.
wicked seed on the earth and give us everlasting power.
This is my only last question that I will have.
One more precept.
Go
to
ahead.
Answer that question. 3 for completion.
Book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Right?
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Right?
Here's the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here is the what?
Here's the patience and the faith of the saints.
Right. The Lord said our faith and our patience comes by waiting for the so-called white man to go into slavery.
That's right.
For what he did to the Aztec Indians, the so-called Hispanics.
I don't disagree.
The black, Hispanic, and Native Americans.
I will only say this, and this is my last statement to you all, and I'm not going to disregard you all selves, or I'm not going to push to say that you all are a certain aspect. I will say that what you're preaching here is based off of you all's faith, and that's representative of what you all want to say, and that's great. I'm not going to say
that's off of what God wants to say.
What God want to say. But I will say this, and this is the last statement that I will have for you all, is that I get what you're saying based off of these 12 cultures that you have here, correct? 12 representative of how our USA is built.
Say Israelite.
Israelite.
God's chosen people.
God chosen people.
One more time. Israelites.
Israelites. God chosen people.
All right.
And I've met Israelites, and I've met them. And the
Yeah,
only,
you're looking at them right now.
That's right.
And you
that's
go to Mexico, you see them.
and I'm not going to disagree with that. All I will say is that if God wanted all of this, certain aspects, or if we're pushing towards this, no slavery, no aspects will retribute the past history that they've already captured.
How?
All I'm saying is
What are you
that
saying?
all I'm saying is that
So
if you
slavery shouldn't happen
enslave,
to white people.
it
that what you're
should
saying?
not. Yeah, I'm saying it.
So you're telling me that give me 1 Thessalonians chapter 1.
That's the last statement I'll say is that no matter
2
what,
Thessalonians 1 and 6. Like,
being that you want to say that certain cultures or certain aspects need to be enslaved based off of slavery off of the past will not help the
Got it.
future push towards a better humanity. what we need to do is grow and understand one another.
Grow and understand one another.
And that's as a fellow.
Do you understand the so-called white man?
Do I understand him? No. But
So
day in day.
Hold on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you don't understand the so-called white man, how can you make plans and retributions and say what should happen on the
I
earth
don't believe.
if you don't understand it?
I don't believe there should be retribution.
Well, guess
I
what?
understand.
Well, hold on. You said you don't understand the so-called white man, so listen to this. Bring it up.
2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God.
It is a what?
It is
It's a righteous thing with God.
Read.
to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Do you believe that it's a righteous thing to recompense tribulation to people that trouble you? Do you believe in justice?
Do I believe in justice? I believe in justice in the sense that we need to understand what is happening. Well,
So let me ask you a question.
go ahead.
If a robber, do you have children?
No, I do not.
You have a wife?
No, I do
You
not.
have a girlfriend?
No, I do not.
You have aunts?
No, yes, I do.
You have a mother?
Yes, I
And a
do.
grandmother?
Yes, I do.
If a man came into your mother's house and your grandmother's there, your aunt is there, your little cousins,
Yes.
and he pillaged your grandmother, tied you up, made you watch it, tied you up, pillaged your grandmother, shaved her cheeks off of her face, cut her nose off, cut her toes off.
All I was.
Hold on. Would you want that man to go to jail or to get punished, or would you say he should be a free man to do it? Because I don't believe in justice. What would you want? Would you want A, that he gets goes to jail and receive the recompense for what he did, or would you say B, let him go?
I'm saying neither.
You're saying neither. So what would
I'm
you say?
saying.
So
I'm
what'd you say?
saying. I'm understanding of the situation that's condemning me, and I'm understanding the situation that's in front of me.
So what you're telling me? I want to get this straight.
Yes.
That you want him, after you just seen him cut your mother's toes off, her nose, your grandmother's facial cheeks, scalped her in front of you, raped her, you'll say, well, just let it. I want to understand. You understand that?
You laugh. But
Hold on. Do you understand?
You laugh.
Hold on. Do
I
you
understand, but
the
your
man that'll do that?
your fellow disciples are laughing at the aspect. But here's the question.
Hold on. Answer the question.
I'm answering.
You understand
I'm
the
answering.
man that'll do that?
I'm answering it.
Go
Based
ahead,
off of the
answer that.
situation, I'm telling you that if it is true religion and it is true faith, I would not want what's happening to another person to happen to myself, because I understand the concept of humanity, and I want the next person to not experience what has experienced to myself. And if I have to bear the faith, and if I have to bear the self-understanding of what's going to happen, then I will understand that myself. And if whether it is a God, or whether it is a understanding of religion, or whether it is an understanding of faith, I will bear that burden myself, because at the end, whether you say it is 1 gate or 12 gates, I myself will understand the experience, and I will understand no matter what you say or what you laugh at, you all will have to understand the same statements that I will have to experience myself.
Guess what? You made no sense. Right?
Go ahead.
Read that.
Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
No, God is mocked.
God is not mocked.
You can do whatever you want to do on the earth.
God is not mocked.
Read on.
For whatsoever a man soweth,
Whatever you do on the earth, whether it be righteous, whether
Or
it be
wrong.
wicked. Read on.
that shall he also reap.
That what?
That shall he also reap.
This is why we're glad you're not God. Because you wouldn't be a righteous judge.
No.
You just let everybody just do their own thing.
I will try
That's
to understand.
why we believe in God.
And I will
Right?
try to
Hold on. Bring it
understand
out.
more.
Book of Isaiah.
You said enough. Right? Listen to this.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 24,
No,
verse,
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse
Salaki, verse 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
What the Lord say?
Prepare slaughter for his children.
This is the God that we serve. The God that we serve is a man of war.
That's right.
The God that we serve is not a man that's going to sit and look at his mother, his grandmother, and his aunts get castrated in the middle of him, and he don't give a damn, right? And they looking at their son and their grandson, well, what the hell are you going to do? Are you going to do something about this? Or are you just going to look and see us get pillaged? Are you going to pray and fast? Or are you just not going to give a damn? Right? Read on.
Prepare slaughter for his children.
Read on.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
For the what?
For the iniquity of their fathers.
God said that he's going to prepare slaughter for the children for what their forefathers have done. Right? The so-called white man has been a cancer on the earth.
Okay.
What do people and doctors and surgeons do if you have a cancer in your arm? Do they leave it there?
No, they're gonna remove it.
They're going to remove it. Well, no, why don't they just leave it there and let it just spread out the rest of their body?
Let me ask you this question.
No, you answer my question
Okay,
first.
I already told you. I would remove.
I said, you said you were removed.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
No, but hold
Hold
on.
on. I just want to say. I
wouldn't
want to
they
acknowledge.
leave it there, though?
I'm gonna acknowledge, for my personal
answer
sake.
that?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you
Why are
what.
they not going to leave that?
But
that
I want to
cancer
acknowledge.
stand there?
I want to acknowledge what I would do personally myself,
It's not about personally yourself.
and that's the question that you're bearing the faith on. Is that I personally don't care if I have cancer or not, because the fact is that if I have cancer, may God have mercy on my soul, because at that point I'm not removing it. At that specific point,
You're just going to let it spread.
I'm gonna let it spread,
You're
and I'm gonna let it
spread.
kill me,
See that?
and I'm gonna let it
See that?
consume me.
So you were one of the men that didn't give a damn about the conquistadors came over and raped, robbed, and murdered your
No.
people. You didn't give a damn.
No.
You just said whatever. They came and burnt down your tents, your temples, and raped, robbed, and gave them smallpox.
What do
and
I
you
know?
Ain't give a damn.
What do I
Are you
know based
are
on
you
my
are you one of
heritage?
those men that didn't care?
What do
to
I
fight
know about
back
my
for your
heritage
people?
if I'm based off
Are
of
you one of those
U.S.?
people?
I can't tell you because I don't
can't
know
tell.
because I wasn't
can't
there
tell.
in the actual aspect.
See that?
I was
Read
already
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse.
I was already immobilized by America, and I was already established based off America.
Okay, you
My
was mobilized
culture.
by America, but does that mean you have to stay in America and stay under their rulership and their jurisdiction?
My
Or are you
understanding,
gonna go back to your heritage and your lineage?
my
and your
heritage
people?
is based
Are you
off
gonna
of
be
what
like
I
Moses
want.
and leave the Pharaoh and go save his people? Or
My
are you gonna
heritage-
stay with Pharaoh and not give a damn about the Hebrews?
My heritage is based off
That's
of what
madness,
I
man.
want,
Read that,
is
man.
what
Give me
I
the
push
first
forward
Maccabees.
to, and I push
Chapter
forward
1,
humanity.
verse 11.
All right, give me St. John chapter 15.
Hey.
Brother Love doesn't have his
Let me
place.
show you.
In those days,
Right?
Hey,
went there out of
I-
Israel
I'm
In
not gonna
those
disagree
days
with you
went
all
out
are saying.
of Babylon.
wicked men.
What happened?
Wicked men.
We got wicked men that's a part of the 12 tribes. This is the reason that we in America.
And you don't
Thyself.
disagree. And I will
Stuck.
say that there's
Destroyed.
not disagreement
Who
and there's not
persecuted
cultural
many? Who
representation
persuaded many?
Who
in
persuaded
other
many? You're trying to
cultures.
persuade us
And you're not telling me that
righteous
there's
judgment
not righteous.
isn't the right thing to do.
And I will say,
You think we just supposed to just let the white man just do
and I'm
that?
going to say, the last
Read
statement
on.
I will say is that
Saying,
Saying what?
let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
No, let's just not do nothing to the so-called white man. He came and raped, robbed, and murdered my aunt and my grandma. He cut her cheek off. Right? Let's just go make
And
a
I'll-
covenant
and
with
you-
him.
you
Let's
laugh.
try to understand him.
He-
Hell no, man.
he laughs.
We don't even understand that.
He
part.
laughs.
The so-called white man has been a barbaric on the earth.
Yes.
You don't think that God is going to judge him?
yes, but I will agree. I'll
that,
I'll
man.
disagree with what you're saying.
That are round
because
about us,
you
right?
all
For
represent
since we
a certain
departed from
aspect.
them,
Since we departed from the heathen, from the white man, read on,
we have had much sorrow.
we've had much sorrow, right? Like seeing your people get annihilated.
And you have not seen
don't-
your own people been
So
disregarding
this
your
device
own
pleased
faith,
them
your
well.
own religion,
Does
your
it
own
please you
culture
to be joined
has
with the
not
so-called
been,
white man?
and has not your own
Do you
people.
love white people?
No, but do I disregard your faith? I'm gonna say that all people,
Do you love your people?
all people have to be represented.
Do you love your people?
I love everyone, and all people have to be represented.
Yeah.
And I
I
was
didn't ask you if you love everyone.
and you asked me, do I love my own people? And
Do
I
you love
said,
your people?
I love all people. Your
See that?
own cultures
that?
have
That's
raped
factual.
and pillages your own people.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's going off. Right, sir, can I ask you a question?
I'm good, man.
You're good? Okay, he's
thank
good.
you, though.
I
All
was
I'm
gonna
gonna
ask
say-
you, do you love white people more than other people? And you should say yes, because that's your people. Everybody should love their people
one certain
more than
individual
everybody else.
to represent.
I mean,
I
just be
enjoyed
honest,
the
man.
conversation we've had.
Like,
so
where's
far,
the honesty
and
at
I
in
will
this place?
represent
There's
that
no
you
honesty.
all have a faith
bring it
that
out.
you all represent.
Book of John,
and it's good.
chapter 15, verse 13.
All
Right?
I will say is
Greater
that
love have
your
no
people-
man.
You don't know what love is. You don't know what real love is. That's
All
your
right.
problem.
and that's fine.
Yeah, that's not fine.
It's fine.
Right? What you have to be the ambassador for the tribe of Issachar.
I don't have to be
You're
an
not
ambassador.
representing the tribe of Issachar.
No.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna disown you. Yeah, we're
And that's
disowning you.
fine. And you can
right? The
push
Lord
towards
said,
that.
count him as a heathen man.
Heathen.
Right? Read that again.
Greater love have no man than this,
Right?
that a man lay down his life for his friends.
For his what?
For his friend.
For other people.
For his friend.
For the Edomites.
For his friend.
For the wicked.
For his friend.
See that? Lay down your life for your friends, man. Right? Didn't the Lord do that? The Lord laid down his life for his friends. Right? He laid his life down for the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, man. Right? It's nothing worse than a coon, man. Right? A lot of times you think of cooning just for the tribe of Judah. Right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. No, man. The northern kingdom got overtaken too by coons. You see, and they didn't really have no kings and no leaders like that. So that's why